Welcome to Yankee Stadium. I'm Mark Hale, along with the great Mike Vaccaro. You see what I did there for you?
I did see that. That's very nice.
Okay, you bet. We're going to be talking Yankees-Orioles as the ALDS gets set to begin tomorrow at Camden Yards in Baltimore. In fact, this could have gone one of two ways. The Yankees could have had the Orioles. The Yankees could have had the Rangers. You wrote a whole column about which would you rather have. So now I'll ask you, they got the Orioles. Is this what you'd rather have?
I think from a competitive standpoint, yes, because the Orioles, I think, look, they've had a wonderful year. They've relied on a lot of pixie dust, a lot of magic. But when you match the players up side by side, it's really hard to find any way that the Orioles are going to be able to win 3 out of the next 5 games. I mean, baseball is a funny game. We can go into all the nuances and so forth of what constitutes winning a 5-game series, but you just go man for man. To me, it's no contest. I mean, there's a reason why this team was probably picked to win 65, 70 games this year without making any substantial changes. I mean, a couple here or there, right. And why the Yankees were picked to win about 95 games, and that's how many they won essentially. So, to me, it's a great story for the Orioles. I think it's a great opportunity for the Yankees because I really think that this is a team they should be able to handle.
You talk about the talent discrepancy between the two teams, and one of the reasons why everyone kind of gives the Orioles, or one of the reasons why people credit the Orioles for winning the way they did this year, is their manager. And Yankee fans know him, Buck Showalter. It's interesting, Buck Showalter will be going into his 3rd playoff series. He's been with 2 different teams. He's played 2 different teams. Both of those series ended the same way, with a walk-off hit by the other team. Now he gets his 3rd chance. He goes against his former team. The Buck factor in this series, Vac, what do you make out of what Buck might bring to this series?
I think Buck obviously is the biggest star the Orioles have. He's the reason why they've gone from nowhere to where they are now to where they're, actually 3 games away from the American League Championship Series, which is an incredible story. He's revitalized Baltimore as a baseball town, which is a great story also for baseball because Baltimore is a wonderful baseball town, and they've kind of fallen back in love with the Orioles after 15 years walking in the desert. That said, Buck's not going to start any of these games. He's not going to come in out of the bullpen. He's not going to need a big hit. That's going to be on his players. And look, I give the Orioles and I give Buck a lot of credit for being able to maintain themselves all through September. People kept waiting. Here's the road trip they're going to wind up spinning up on themselves. Right. Here's a tough stretch of games where they're going to wind up, choking it away. That never happened. I mean, unless you want to count the Tampa series, but I don't think the Yankees were going to do better than win 1 out of 3 if they had to go down to Tampa the last 3 games. It so happened that's where the schedule shook out. A terrific story for the Orioles, and I don't think it's going to be easy for the Yankees to emerge from the series. But if you want to give Buck the check mark and the matchups with the dugout with Joe Girardi, that's fine. I don't necessarily know if it's the case or not, but even if it is, that's only going to be a small part of what determines the series. And he can go into his mad laboratory and try and figure out a lot of things. I don't know if any of them are going to make the Orioles any better than they are on paper.
I think one of the most interesting guys in this series, Vac, is CC Sabathia for the Yankees. And look, we know he's the ace of this team. We know he's going to get the ball tomorrow for Game 1. He pitched 3 times against the Orioles this year. He went 0-2 with a 6.38 ERA. He has not pitched particularly well in either of the last 2 postseasons. He seemed to right his ship at the end of the year this season. But is CC Sabathia a little bit of a question mark when you go into the series for the Yankees?
Well, he's got to be a large question mark because so much of what the Yankees are in October is based around the idea that he's going to be their stud horse ace. Right. And look, in 2009, that's exactly what he was. And what was the result in 2009? It was a World Series championship. He struggled the last 2 years. What happened in the last 2 years? They didn't get to the World Series last year. They didn't get out of the first round. So if we're looking at the kind of CC Sabathia that we expect him to be, just because of who he is, what he gets paid, what his record is, then not only are the Orioles in trouble, but so is the rest of the American League, and so is the rest of baseball. Because I think right now you're talking about a guy who, if he does what you expect him to do, he's going to go out and he's going to give you 8 innings. He's going to give the ball directly to Soriano if he doesn't take care of business himself, and he's going to limit the other team to 1 or 2 runs. And with the Yankee offense, I mean, that should be more than enough. But we didn't see that the last couple of years. And we saw him, obviously, this year tire a little bit at times. When he came off the DL the 2nd time, he wasn't great. He was really good those last 2 outings of the year. But you know what? I mean, you can,
not against great teams.
No, not against great teams. And look, any question you want to have in the postseason can be like, well, if this, if that. Obviously, if we knew, we wouldn't be here. We'd be in Vegas. We don't know, and as a result, you have to go on what you think. And I think that CC Sabathia against that Orioles lineup will be fine. And if that's the case, that's going to give the Yankees a huge advantage in Game 1 and a huge advantage in Game 5. And somehow the Orioles have to find a way then, if that's going to be the case, to win the other 3 games. That's a tall order.
Last thing, real quick, you talk about the Orioles lineup. The best player on this team is Adam Jones, the center fielder for Baltimore. But the 2 guys in this lineup the Yankee fans don't want to see at all right now are Mark Reynolds and J.J. Hardy. Reynolds hit 7 home runs against the Yankees this year. Hardy hit 6. Orioles will hit a lot of home runs. These two guys in particular can do some damage.
Well, especially in that ballpark. And I think it's interesting. I mean, we can go back and forth about the fairness of the #1 seed having to go on the road to the first 2 games. Personally, I have no problem with it because all the Yankees have to do is split those 2 games. You come home and just take 2 out of 3 at home, and boom.
They still have home field.
You still have home field, and that's the important thing. But in that ballpark, I mean, the Orioles play very well. You have to believe that games 1 and 2 are going to be incredible atmosphere. Baltimore fans really falling back in love with the team. I mean, I don't think you're going to see what we've seen for 15 years where Yankee fans are going to infiltrate. It's going to be very much of an orange and black crowd. That said, you know, in that ballpark, where home runs, you know, come pretty easily, you know, much like they do here, of course. You're going to see a lot of balls fly out of the yard. You're right about Mark Reynolds. I mean, he's a guy, you know, if you watch the Orioles a lot this month, as I think you and I have, just because we knew we were going to be seeing them again, it seems like against any other team, Mark Reynolds looks like the most hopeless guy in baseball. And against the Yankees, he looks like Lou Gehrig, right-handed Lou Gehrig. And you know, obviously he's going to be a guy that no Yankee fans are going to want to see come up because of the damage he's done against the Yankees this year. But you know what? You have to look at the overall. He's also a guy who's just not that good. I mean, he's an all-or-nothing player. Hits a home run or he strikes out. And you want to think that the Yankees, with their pitching, are going to be able to find a way to handle him.
Yankees-Orioles will start up tomorrow night in Camden Yards. Best-of-5 series in the ALDS. Thanks for watching. For Vac, I'm Mark. You make sure to follow him at Mike Vac. Make sure to follow me at Hale Mark. We'll talk to you later in this series. Thanks.